Yo, so I said that I would. So many people contacted me saying that, like, yo, that video was different. Like, it was really dope. These are things I never heard about. I had a few people at my job. I have some of my coworkers on my Instagram. I gotta make this not fast, but decent. Came up to me at work like, yo, like, I need to know more. So, I guess this episode is based on borderline personality disorder, which is, I guess, what I'm most knowledgeable about. But I'm pretty knowledgeable on other personality disorders, diagnosis, whatever. I study this shit. Okay, so someone with borderline personality disorder. It's a tough one. First and foremost, before I say anything, I want to say that I'm very empathetic to their suffering, because there's a lot of inner suffering with borderlines. It's just you can tell, the relationship could be abusive, but you can tell that person's just going through something, and I have a lot of empathy for them. And I know deep down, lots of them are really good people, but when you gotta base people on their actions, and sometimes because of their emotional instability, their actions aren't the best. So, but I just want to say, disclaimer: this is not against borderlines to put them down in any way, shape, or form. Trust me, I have really strong. Basically, I have a lot of respect. Not respect, but I understand. I understand. So, all right. So basically, how I want to start off is a personality disorder. A personality disorder is something that affects your, it affects your family life. It affects your job. It affects it affects multiple aspects of your life in a negative way, and it's also diagnosed in patterns. So these 9 symptoms of borderline that I'm about to read off, I organized it a little bit this time, because last time I was freestyling. It has to be in a pattern. So, like, if I read one symptom and it just happened once, like 5-10 years ago, then you don't qualify. It has to be daily, weekly, monthly, even. By the way, I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a mental health counselor, nothing, but I've studied this stuff for like 3 years. So just lots of mental health topics. So we're already 3 minutes in, so let's start. The first symptom is frantic efforts to avoid abandonment. Now, the person doesn't want to be left. The person, it will do anything to not be left alone, especially when it's a romantic partner. An unstable relationship pattern. Basically, the past 4 or 5 boyfriends, we always on and off, constantly. Broken up, getting back together, broken up, getting back together. Friends too. Identity disturbance. It's what I was trying to say in the other video. It's a lack of sense of self, which a lot of things come along with that. Lots of girls that have borderline personality disorder, I'm not saying all, they dye their hair a lot because of that. Impulsivity in at least 2 areas that can be self-damaging. So, I have impulsive issues, but it has to be in 2 different areas where it's constantly affecting them. Suicidal behavior. Now, that could mean actually trying to kill yourself, or that could mean taking a shaving razor and just going like this and leaving marks. That's suicidal behavior. You're harming yourself, but you're not actually going to kill yourself in that situation. So trust me, I've gone through that exact situation. Emotional dysregulation. Now, this is a big one. It's just 1 minute. You wake up at 9 o'clock. From 9 to 10, they're upset. From 10 to 11, they're happy. From 11 to 12, they're cranky. From 12 to 2, they're kind of happy again. From 2 to 5, they're sad. They're really sad. From 5 to 7, they're happy again, and then somewhere along the end of the night, they might be cranky or upset. Now, that's not the exact way it happens. That's just examples, so don't take that to heart. Oh, my girlfriend wakes up this way, and this way, this way. It's just, the emotions aren't, like, strong throughout a period of time. It's like it changes all the time, drastically, including, like, anger, Yeah, like one of the, let's say from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. She was in a rage. He was in a rage. Whatever. Another thing is borderline. Lots of people will just say that only female, at least most females get diagnosed borderline, and from my understanding, that is true. But males can also have borderline personality disorder. So if I say her a lot or she a lot, it's not. It's just because it is something that females usually are diagnosed with. Chronic feelings of emptiness. Now, this is, from my understanding, it could also be put out as boredom. But this is one of the hardest things for me to understand, and maybe I suffer from it. But chronic feeling of emptiness, I can't wrap my head around it. Trust me, I've tried. Inappropriate anger or having trouble controlling that anger. It's like, you could be in the restaurant and the conversation just kind of went left, and next thing you know, she's extremely angry, and it's causing a scene. She doesn't care, or that would be controlling. You gotta control your anger in that moment, but there's not. Or being in the house and just physically attacking you. Or just being angry inappropriately, like there's no reason for it, like at least no justifiable reason that you could try to comprehend. Paranoid idealization or severe dissociation. I've seen this. Paranoid ideation it's like you're paranoid. You're paranoid all the time. You're hypervigilant. You're everything is just you're looking for criticism all the time. That's my take on it. Now, paranoid ideation or severe dissociation, that's the actual symptom. But from my take of it, it's just constantly being paranoid. And then when you disassociate, I'll say I've seen someone disassociate where they're out of touch with reality in a complete psychosis, and and it was wild. But another thing is, it's called borderline because it was in the neurosis is someone who's like neurotic. You know what I'm saying? Psychosis is someone who is kind of out of their mind. So it was like in the middle of neurosis and psychosis. So they called it borderline. All right, now, how do these people become who they are? Well, 80% of people who are diagnosed with this disorder came from abusive, toxic, traumatic, uncontrolled environments. The main thing, uncontrolled. Like, they never knew what to expect. Any hour, any minute, any day, something can happen. There was just no, and when I say controlled, I don't mean like the parent wasn't controlling the kid. I mean, the environment was just uncontrolled. Like, it was just, next minute, the father slapping the mother. The next minute, the yelling at the daughter for getting certain things. It's just crazy. And boundaries are, so this means that like your boundaries are always being broken. So from a child, you have no boundaries. So like no physical boundaries, so emotional boundaries. So you grow up not developing a sense of boundaries. That's why lots of people with borderline narcissism, they they invade other people's boundaries so easily because they just don't have a sense of their own, sort of. They might seem like they do, but they don't. Boundaries can be, that's what abuse is. Abuse is breaking someone's boundaries. So let's say, there's financial abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, whatever, that's breaking someone's boundaries. If my boundary is, I don't want you punching me in the face, I don't want you touching me, I don't want you and you do it anyway, that's abuse. So abuse is breaking boundaries. So when someone is constantly abused, they never were able to form boundaries. And another thing that happens at that is their emotional growth is stunted by a certain age. Literally. Like, they might be very intelligent. They might, they might seem to be, they're not, they might seem to be intelligent and all that, but their emotional intelligence is of usually a 7, 8, 9-year-old, maybe a 10-year-old, like the emotional intelligence. And like that one's a hard one for me to grasp too, but immature. Not trying to come at anybody. And everything I'm saying, I promise is facts. So another thing with that lack of emotional intelligence is they think in black and white thinking, which means either I love you or I hate you. Like, a kid, they love you when you give them the lollipop, but they hate you when you take it away, you don't give it to them. So they think in black and white thinking. So 1 minute, I love you. It's called idealization and devaluation. It's like, oh, I love you. I want to marry you. I want to have kids with you. I want to, you're so perfect. You're so cute. You're so handsome. You're so sexy. You're so, how'd you get to be this way? Like, how are you so perfect? Like, I fucking love you. To you did one thing that they asked you to do that you didn't do, or just you said something to them, you criticized them in a certain way, you did something that just made the switch, and then they hate you. Oh, like, what are you even doing here? Like, why do I even like you? Why do I even fuck with you? Like, I could do so much better. Like, what's the point of even being here right now? Seriously, like, can you get your shit? Can you get out of my house, please? Can you get the fuck out of my house? Like, shit like that. It goes from that to that literally. Usually like 2-3 times a day at times. Maybe if you're lucky, it's like 2 times a week, but it's usually like daily. Well, another thing you guys need to understand about borderline personality disorder and all personality disorders, especially cluster B, well, all of them actually, all cluster A, B, and C, that there's a certain genetic thing that's passed on. So like the mother or the father probably had a certain genetic, maybe he's a narcissist, maybe he's a sociopath, maybe he's a borderline, maybe he has strong traits of it, whatever. There's a seed. And then the soil is the unstable, uncontrolled, toxic, abusive, traumatic, invalidating environment. And it's the seed, the genetic seed that grows in that. And then they become that way. And it's usually passed down through generations. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually if your girlfriend or boyfriend is a borderline or a narcissist, more than likely their parents are. Like I said, 80% of borderlines did not suffer from abuse, but I'm just saying. I'm sorry, 20% of borderlines did not suffer from abuse. They did not have traumatic growing ups. They just are the way they are. And it becomes a learned behavior through generations. Now, these are some things that they might do to you, okay? False accusations against you all the time. You're doing this behind my back, this. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you females have dealt with this. You guys know what I'm talking about. Narcissists do the same thing, but we're strictly talking about borderlines here. False accusations against you. They're constantly testing you. It feels like they're constantly testing you to prove your love for them. So like, it's always, can you do this for me? 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 And they just keep seeing how far they can get, They're always envious of people that they see as competitors. So if you have a female friend, or you're at a bar, she might try to push that female friend away, or get verbally or physically, aggressive with them. You're at the bar, and she is constantly searching for people that might be looking at you, and it's toxic, They're constantly trying to get into your phone, into your passwords. They try to make it seem like this is what normal relationships do, or that, oh, if there's nothing to hide, why not? But in my situation, even when I wasn't doing it, not even like I wasn't doing anything, she would somehow make it a way to make it something. Like, oh, who's this girl that commented on their thing? Oh, it's my friend for a long time. Oh, it becomes a huge fight. But they're constantly trying to keep track of, they'll keep track of who you follow, who follows you, certain things like that. It's an invasion of privacy. You fear. It's an invasion of privacy, but for them, it's the fear of you cheating that elevates their fear of abandonment and paranoia. The fear of abandonment, paranoia, ideation. There you go. They'll build relationships with people, sometimes a little bit behind your back, sometimes, with you knowing, but it's really just for the purpose of strictly trying to gain information about you and to see what you're doing or whatever, or they'll hit up random girls they think that you had sex and try to be friends with them and then ask them, hey, did you fuck my man, and this is just my situation. Not all borderlines could be like this, but they are extremely, extremely, extremely verbally abusive. You will be called names every day. You will be, at first they hear your story out. They hear your weaknesses. They hear the things that, you tell your significant other, that you don't like about yourself or whatever, and then they use it against you. The verbal abuse was something that I still try to get over in my head. It's bad. I would, I've heard this before, but I prefer physical abuse over verbal abuse any day. Lots of their anger goes from like 0 to 100, and then you have no idea what you even did wrong. Like maybe you said something that you thought they wouldn't like, but their reaction was just so unnecessary and was so angry and full of rage. Like I said, they're hyper vigilant to criticism of any kind. So constantly, 24/7. It's like a self-defense. My borderline is almost like a self-defense mechanism. It's built in so hard that it's like they're 24/7 subconsciously. They're constantly looking for criticism of any kind. That's why you might do something nice. You might, make a sarcastic joke, and it's just boom. That's another thing. This is just something I noticed. This isn't any research. Well, I have seen this. in some research I've done. Cluster B personality disorders seem to have trouble with this. Same with autistic people, but they have trouble understanding sarcasm. I'm a very sarcastic person. Anyone that knows me will tell you I'm very sarcastic. And for spending 4 years with somebody and they never understood my sarcasm, it was like, try it. If you think if some of these, what I'm saying is fitting your partner or fitting whatever, try some sarcasm and see how they don't get it, or it's not funny to them or whatever. And another thing is they are very, 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 very hypocritical. They will. It's this constant feeling of they can do it, but you can't. No matter what, they can do it, but you can't. I could go for anything, and when I say anything, I mean anything. They can. I wish I could do some examples, but it's just man, it's just if some of this is making sense to you, then when I say they can do it, but you can't, I mean everything, because then they always end up arguing with you about something that they've done before. So that's the best way I could put it. It's why are you arguing? You do it all the time. But it's I wish I wrote an example very, very whatever. Alright, so now this is what a person who is that was what you might be experiencing from that person to you, the abuse or whatever. Now this is what the person feels. This is how, like, you might know that you are dealing with someone like this. Just because I'm going to explain how you feel as the person that's not diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, that's in a relationship with someone who is. It feels like the fights have no real purpose. Like, yeah, like you're fighting over the dishes, but it always feels like there's some underlying reason, and it's always so random, or there's just sometimes it's just random fights, and there's no solution. You can't fix things. There's no repair to any of the damage, anything, and like I can't stress it enough. There's never a comparable. There's never a solution at the end. There's never like okay, I was wrong with this and you were wrong with that, and we can shake our hands. There's never that. You just fight and then it goes away. You chill for 5-10 minutes, an hour, whatever, and then you come back and don't even discuss what just happened. But you end up feeling powerless at the same time. Sometimes you can believe that you're the problem, and you'll have feelings of shame and guilt because you just don't understand what's happening. You know something's wrong, and you think maybe it's something that you're missing, but it's you don't understand what's happening. You can tell the red flags or whatever, but you can't tell what's happening. You could be you're definitely constantly on edge for being attacked for no reason. So you can, feel paranoid because you never know what to expect with the outbursts, whether it's physical or verbal. It's like it's called walking on eggshells. Look it up. Anyone this far in the video and still interested, look up walking on eggshells. Just on Google. With like BPD or NPD. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's like you're scared to say things. You're scared to say certain things that might trigger them. You're scared to do certain things that might, So you're constantly walking on eggshells. You're on edge that you might get verbally attacked, physically attacked, or whatever. Lots of times you'll be pulled away from your loved ones and your family. One by one, your friends just slowly go missing, and it's not because they stopped fucking with you. It's just you're spending, and that happens as you grow older. Like you spend more, especially when you get kids, you spend more time with your family or your girlfriend. That happens. We all got boys that yeah, he's with his girl. Fuck that. But like they'll have an issue. They view that other person as a threat, so they will purposely throw a temper tantrum or purposely start issues anytime you want to hang out with somebody, and then before you know it, one friend's gone, one friend's gone, one friend's gone, one friend's gone, one friend's gone. Like I probably got like 2 or 3 friends, 4 friends now. Like I used to have like 10 that I consider like boys. Like they just pull you, and then next thing you know, it's been, hey, I haven't seen you in 2 years. How you been? Yeah, you get a sense that it's almost all about their wants and needs and suffering. So you feel emotionally starved because your needs aren't being met. Like you're constantly catering to them, and it feels like your needs just aren't being met. And in a relationship, it's supposed to be 50-50 or 100-100 or whatever you want to analyze. It's not supposed to be 90-10. You're doing 90%, you're doing 10. You just feel emotionally starved, whether it's sex, whether it's just validation, emotion. You know what I mean. So yeah, you usually just feel drained. You feel starved. Your needs are being met. It kind of goes in the same hand. You kind of just feel bad for them all the time. Like you love them, but it's starting to feel more like you just feel bad for them because you could see that they're constantly suffering. Like you could see that there's something going on there. You know that they're not just being a bitch. Like it depends who, but you know that there is some mental, when you see someone with BPD break the fuck down, you know that something is not okay upstairs. So you feel like my problems aren't as bad as this person's problems, so you put yourself second, and you shouldn't, but you do. Unfortunately, it depends who you are. you gotten this far into that type of relationship. Another thing is, you will always feel like you need a plan B, like you need somewhere else to stay, like a friend's house, your parents' house, a cousin's house, because of the spontaneous love-hate relationship. You never know when you're gonna get kicked out. Let's say you're living with that person, you never know when you're gonna get kicked out, or you're never gonna know when you guys have a house together, but like you don't want to be in the same vicinity as her, which will trigger her fear of abandonment. But you need a plan B. And plus, when she devalues you, she'll want you to go, and that'll happen once a week, once every other week, once a month, however frequently it happens, it will happen. So you feel like you need a plan B. You need somewhere to stay in case shit goes down. Kind of said this earlier. Being on edge, that you might be physically or verbally attacked. It's just out of nowhere. It's just boom. And sadly, lots of people, they just finally learn to accept it. I know I did. I felt like I can't do better than this. Who wants me? I'm not attractive. I'm not good at much. I don't have some college degree. You start, and these are things that are also being told to me, for so long, and you kind of just break yourself down, and you kind of just learn to accept it. One last thing. I've done a lot of what I feel is bashing on people with BPD, and I just want to end this with saying they are people like everyone else. Yes, they can do horrible things to people. There are countless YouTube videos, countless articles, countless research about it. Yes, it's a personality disorder for a reason. But some of these people could be the most beautiful people, caring, loving, empathetic people that you will ever meet. And that's kind of what draws you in. But then somewhere along the line, it's like, when I say empathetic, I mean they are caring, they do care, they do have empathy, but it's just distorted at times. And when they idealize you and then they devalue you, that empathy goes away. But they are some of the most beautifulest people on this planet. And I just want to say that. I want to close that out on that note, because obviously everything I said is research. Some of it was my personal opinion and stuff, but I purposely tried to not bash anybody. Like I said, I have a lot of love for people with this disorder. I understand it very well. For 4 years of a relationship, and just through 2.5, almost 3 years of research, and so I guess that's my breakdown of BPD. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thinking about maybe starting a YouTube channel, I don't know, but my next one is probably going to be antisocial personality disorder. And then the one after that would be narcissism. Narcissism is probably gonna have to be covered in a couple videos. It's very intricate. It's so hard to just put down. Plus, there's 2 types of narcissism. There's grandiose, vulnerable, or covert, or overt. Narcissism is, and it's funny because all these cluster B personality disorders, there's hints of narcissism in all of them. So it's like, it's hard not to touch on it. And also, one thing, people say there's different types of borderlines, and I just believe that people are people, and they're all different, and they handle things differently. So yes, we have symptom criteria, we have a diagnosis, but I don't think that people should take all of those. I saw like 8 different type of borderline types that serious. Like, I read one, and someone that was close to me could fit like 4, but like different one. It was weird. But anyway, yeah, if anyone has any questions, anyone wants to know anything, anybody needs any advice or whatever, I'm always here to help. But now I'm going to get drunk. I'm not get drunk, I'm gonna get a little wavy and listen to some music. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. For real. Just leave me a comment, a like, a share, whatever you want. Thanks.